call.
Here.
Here, Jim.
I guess I don't have to take minutes now.
You can help.
Right? You know, if you want to.
No, I'm getting up. I'm getting up to speed.
It's just habit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I move that we accept the minutes of July meeting 16th.
I second it. All those in favor?
Right.
Opposed? Okay. I move that we accept the minutes from July 29th. A special meeting.
I'll second
Okay. Alright, did you have anything, Don?
I only have one question. Jim, you might know. When you go on to the website and you look up the agenda, well, when you register your email or text for updates, do the agendas come out as an update from the police and fire part of the registration? So that when there's going to be a meeting, I would just automatically get an update in email.
I don't know the answer to that question.
No,
I can certainly get it for you.
okay.
All right. So you're asking me is when you check off your list of things that you want to see.
There's a
on the
notification,
website,
yeah.
And I don't, haven't been on that part for a while. Is there a checklist for? I don't recall there being checklists for agendas. I'm not sure why there would be if it's already there on the website.
Does that happen for the village?
You could go through each department and turn on notifications.
For employment, things of that nature, right?
But there was one for police and fire, and I didn't know if that would include getting, like when there's an updated agenda, would it automatically send out a notification?
I will check with Maggie, who runs the website,
All right.
and I will certainly get a response for you ASAP.
Thanks.
Okay. Communications. Anything special?
Only on the electronic.
Hold on one second. Oh. Yes, sir. I think we already got all approached by him for the evening. All right, thanks. I'm sorry, what was that?
I was just saying only the electronic.
Okay. So under the electronic, we had
a revision. It's some new legislation, and it basically deals with firefighters.
okay.
And since we have no full-time firefighters, we're not under our jurisdiction right now. But I thought it was just best to bring it up and have it on record that we received it. Never
Okay.
know if things change, so we'll have it on record.
Okay. It's noted in the minutes, so just keep a copy of it and
Right.
make sure we have it. If it ever comes to pass, I don't
Right.
know if we'll ever,
You may never see it, but
if we ever become the hiring faction of the fire department. Okay. We had any invoices?
no.
Okay. We don't have anything for closed session here.
No.
Okay. Entry-level hiring process. I see your correspondence with Mr. Mr. Hasek.
Right, well, based on the fact that Mr. Hasek was the number one candidate, of course, we went into closed session to talk about it. And as a result of that, we decided to send the top man
Okay.
through, if he passed his background check, we were going to send him to the ride-alongs, top 3 candidates for background checks. And if they passed their background checks, we give them all 3 ride-alongs.
Okay.
All right. So Mr. Hasek being the top candidate, we offered him the conditional offer of employment if he passes additional tests, which would be the background, the psych, and the polygraph. And he has.
Yes, I see that the
taken care of-
psychological was today at 10:15,
That is correct.
and his polygraph is Saturday at 9 a.m.
That is correct.
Okay.
Now, I can get the verbal responses for that if I choose to, so that I can give the chief some information so that he can reserve a seat for this candidate downstate for the academy.
Okay, before you do that, we need to get together on it and review it.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yes, yes,
Yeah.
I understand.
Okay.
It was just a matter of
Yeah, I know he wants to
reserve the
put a
seat,
name
that's
on it,
all.
put a name towards the seat.
But,
He needs to go
in
to
a
that
couple of
medical,
days,
so-
we have a little time. We have a little time, so we could review that again.
Okay.
All right.
Did he make a note if for some reason Mr. Hasek doesn't come through with flying colors, can we change the name?
He said if Mr. Hasek does not come through with flying colors, he would need an expedited testing of the number 2 candidate.
Okay, cause what is that date? I forgot what's the date.
It was, they need to know by the 18th of September to hold the seat.
Oh, okay.
Hold the 29th, right?
The
29th is the starting date,
29th would
correct?
be the,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Yeah, as soon as you get those results, just,
I'll let you guys know.
let us know and we'll schedule just a short meeting
Yes.
to come in and review those, or review, just, so we get together on that.
So that's
Okay.
where we are right now with the entry level.
Okay. Alright.
Did the chief say anything about starting this guy early?
He did
Did?
say that once we got all our ducks in order, let's say, and he was ready to go, subsequent to our next meeting, our brief meeting, he would like to have him in a car for a couple weeks, at least 2 weeks before he sends him to the academy. He said he'd like to have him fitted for his ballistic vest and things of that nature, and then he would send him down to the academy. He did mention that.
Okay. Yeah, so we're just kinda waiting, or you can wait now for us.
Right. But at least we're ahead of the curve on this.
Yeah. Should
For
be.
the,
Did, Mr. Hasek say how quickly he could show up if he got sworn in?
I did not ask him that question. I could always follow that up.
Yeah, just, let's see what his results come back with. 'Cause if he has to give 2 weeks' notice, that puts us out into the first or second week of September, so we just need to know if we need to be extra
All right.
expedient with this. Okay. Okay.
Now, Jim, you'll forward this guy on to his medical then, right? If he passes these 2 tests?
Right, well, you guys, at the next meeting, I guess we can discuss how you tell me how I'm gonna do this.
Well,
My
I would
first time.
suggest you,
yeah, what, once he lets us know that we get the 2 test results back after Saturday, then we'll get together and decide and contact Mr. Hasek if these come back positive, and we can get a hold of him and tell him to get in for his medical. Plus he has to take a ride along, he hasn't done that.
He has done the ride,
That's-
all
He has?
3 of them have done the ride
Okay.
along. We okayed the ride along
Yeah.
That's right,
It's all
pending
done.
their preliminary backgrounds,
okay,
and they all passed their preliminary background.
okay.
So him being the top one, then he, you know, he's gonna move forward after the ride along, if
Okay.
everything else goes well.
That's right, I forgot he did do that. Okay, yeah, cause he should not forward him on until we review his test results.
Right.
Okay.
So I'll ask for an expedited copies, I'll get the information over the phone on Monday, but I'll ask for expedited, results. The results will be sent.
They'll send you just a review sheet basically that they
Alright.
can share with you
Alright,
instead of we don't really need the whole test result.
well, we basically need,
review,
he's
we
done
just need-
this is the review, this is
Yep.
what we thought, like we got for the,
Exactly.
okay,
So that's what we need, just to
alright.
go over 'em, and we can make a decision.
Well, I'll get all of that paperwork
Well,
in, and then we
We
can.
really don't have to make a decision, do we? We
No.
just send him a medical.
Yeah, if he passes those, we don't,
Yeah.
then we just have to decide, we can even do a phone poll at that point, if he's, to send
For
him
what?
on to to send him on to the medical.
All right, I'll move right now, if he passes, then send him on. Do we have to have a poll, or? You feel comfortable having a poll, that's fine.
I guess the way our rules and regulations are set up, we don't have to actually vote on, cause he's already had a conditional offer,
Yes,
Yeah,
so,
I mean, that's fine, we can do that. I just don't wanna waste,
no, what we should probably do then is if the results come back as positive for him, then you could since he already has his conditional, we already voted on that, then you could just offer, tell him he needs to get in here to see Wendy to get the medical as soon as possible.
because sometimes, if you don't hound for results of the medical,
Yeah, the medical, for some reason.
they don't
the last-
offer them to you.
The last time it took us quite a long time to get the results.
alright, well, I'll get on it immediately Monday to get the results, maybe I can get them faxed to me. Once I get that, I can get a hold of him, tell him get in here to see Wendy,
Yeah.
if that's how you guys want.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Right.
As long as they're positive, if there's anything negative on it, then
Yeah,
call for a
contact
meeting.
us right away and we'll get it.
Alright,
Okay, I guess since he already has the conditional offer of employment.
Yeah, he's got that,
Okay.
good.
Under new business, we had the ratification of the phone poll from 8/12,
which we referenced a little
which
earlier,
we referenced earlier.
and that was to give Hasek a conditional offer of employment when his first background check came through.
Yes. Okay.
So we can ratify that.
I move that we ratify the phone poll from 8/12/14.
Okay.
Okay. Under review rules and regulations. I have not had a chance to look into lateral entry. Have you
Well, the only question
looked into?
I did not speak to the lawyer yet.
Okay.
Alright, I figured I may speak to him, perhaps when he's here
Okay.
at the next meeting. And there are a lot of, we're looking at some money saving issues for, testing and things in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And those types of rules and regulations, could be changed, if and when we decide on a different way to do applications, and how much, who's gonna pay for what, either the applicant versus the village. So once we decide what kind of a vendor, what vendor we're gonna have, how we're gonna do business, then that will dictate what changes in the rules we make, cause there are rules here about the application process that need to be revamped if we
Yeah.
do something like that. So, I think we should, we can get this out of the way. The lateral entry issue, we'll talk to the lawyer about it. I don't know if
Yeah.
I can take some direction from you.
Well, I need to contact, well, basically, you need to contact Royer, represents the commission, state commission, and see if he has any kind of,
Guideline?
guidelines or information that he can share with us that we can actually incorporate into our rules and regulations. I know that, they suggest we don't really do too much lateral, just
The
because it's hard to-
consensus was, yeah.
Yeah, it's very hard to do that, but,
Do you recall any local municipality that has one?
I can't recall the exact municipalities when I went to the seminar, but the consensus was that it was not a good thing. That was the consensus, you know. However, you know, sometimes it's the needs of the village necessitate a quick hire. And, my concerns were that maybe we have some benchmarks along the way that we can recheck the status, you know, like background checks, because we don't wanna end up having to look for some people off and going through a lateral hire process and they're not candidates that we wanna look at. So maybe there's a way that we can do it not incrementally, but a way that we can check. It's a 2-year list, alright? So maybe at the beginning of the list, maybe halfway through, it may cost us some money, but then we won't have this, process where we don't have, viable candidates at the end.
and we have to come up with a method of putting them in order on our list
Well,
somehow.
You guys mentioned that earlier, and I was looking at the lateral hire section, and it does not say first come, first serve. It says, basically, well, I have it here, but it says the, best candidate based on oral interviews. But I thought I heard you say that it was first come, first serve on the list, and
Well,
it's
that's-
not on here.
That's the way we've done it in the past, because we had to have some sort of a methodology of putting them into a list. Okay, so the first one that turned it back in became the top one on the list. That's how we have done it in the past. Now, if there's a better way of doing that, at the time Jim Stevenson didn't know of a better way, and he helped us draft the rules.
This came down.
Well, let me read this.
This came down real fast.
Yeah, let me read this part of the rules and regs under that section.
Yeah, that's fine.
It says successful applicants will be placed upon a separate initial eligibility register lateral entry in order of excellence as determined by the members of the Board of Fire and Police Commission. So that, to me, would be the guiding issue here, is in
Yeah.
order of excellence.
Yeah, so what do we determine as excellence?
Well, the oral interviews that are conducted in the same manner as
So,
entry.
so before we can come up with our list in order, you're saying to do an oral interview?
Well, it says the oral exams will be conducted in accordance with section 7 above, which is the same as the type as the entry level. All right. And then it says after in this order in the rules and regulations, then it talks about successful applicants. So that to me would say they're successful after the oral exam. They're already cops, right? Alright, so they have to pass the orals, and then, I can pass it down, it's C there if you just wanna see it, it just says, in order of excellence.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got it. So that's what I was looking at, that, it is our determination, not who gets on the list first, who we have to put in first. So, you guys have had a little more experience than I did, but, unless I'm reading that wrong, it seems pretty, that section seems clear to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that may solve our problem.
Why do you think we need to?
But we can look at the whole thing, you know,
Yeah, look at the whole
the
thing.
whole
Maybe what
process.
confuses us is the order in which it appears in the rules and regulations.
Well,
And there's really no method in the rules and regulations that state any type of scoring type thing. In other words, what it does, it says, it shows firearms qualification and oral examination. Well, I don't know about firearms qualification. They certainly have to know how to fire a weapon if they hold a green card or whatever card they call that. But
well, we can look at it again,
I think so.
and once we determine what our exact questions are, so that, we don't get billed too much by,
Yeah.
down by
Yeah.
the lawyer.
No, it's, yeah, we need to get some directives from, I think, the state commission too, see if they have anything.
Alright. And then, and as I said, the other parts are, depending on what we do about a vendor, if we change the way we're going to, do applicants. I will say I did a lot of research today on, the NIPSTA testing, so that we don't have to do the physical aptitude test. It's not, unusual for municipalities to require the card from everyone ahead. And there's a third, there happens to be a third, vendor out there, yeah.
Yeah, when you look at the internet,
Yeah.
and some of the other municipalities, a lot of them state right on it, that's part of their requirement, to get the application, you gotta even show the.
Seehausen, Lakemore, Illinois, Waukegan, they, require the power either, the NIPS or NIPSTA test from Joliet, Triton, or from NIPSTA. They require it ahead of time. That would take that out of the equation. We already know they're qualified. We don't have to go through the testing process and have people that aren't gonna qualify, so that'll be money saved. And if we decide to go with a vendor that will incorporate the fee paid by the applicant versus part of it being paid by us.
Yeah, so they were gonna, little or no fee or charge to the
Charges for
village
us.
at that point.
That's correct. So we'll look at that. And the third vendor that I mentioned, that both Richton Park and South Holland are using is the publicsafetyrecruitment.com. That's new. Of course, we have cops, and then drawing a blank on the second one. I had it, but the one that said we could, the applicant would take all the charges.
Yeah.
So we have 3 people to look at. They can come in later on, give us their presentation, and we can make a judgment later, and then we'll know how to change the rules for our applications and things like that, or our online.
Yeah, no, I think that would be good. We just have to motion to discuss with Mr. Stevenson and have him rewrite them for him. Okay, we'll have to bring that up again next couple meetings.
And then are we gonna follow up with Jim Stevenson?
Yeah, we need to follow up with him as far as the
Lateral.
the lateral, but I'm gonna try and get a hold of Mr. Breuer,
Tom?
John Breuer, and see if unless you wanna call him and see if he has anything that he can send to us, or you'll need to, either way, I can see if he has something that he can forward to us that the state is recognizing as, it can be added to our rules and
They
regulations.
even call it association.
That's what I was wondering, if it'd be better, the
I
association.
think it's best to first approach them.
Okay.
And that way, if they tell me, call John Breuer, when I call John Breuer, I'll say, the association told me to call you.
Oh, so you
So
didn't.
don't push
Yeah.
the Crete payroll
Yeah, cause we
button.
don't wanna get billed by him. Yeah, that's exactly right. You would think our dues would pay for something like that.
One would think so.
That instead he wants to bill us for it, so. Yeah, if you wanna call the association and see if they have
Yeah.
anything on it?
I'm planning on being even up there in that area. And, I gotta go
Stop by the
visit
office.
the new office that they moved to.
I wanted to step back for 1 minute on the vendors.
Mhm.
If you look at the emails from our candidate, Mr. Haystack, he had to go to Schaumburg 2 different days to test. And it was our concern that we are a south suburban municipality and sending people from, could be further south from here, applicants, to Schaumburg for testing, didn't seem reasonable. This guy Haystack happens to live downtown right now, so he cut the distance in half.
Yeah.
Could've been someone else. That
He
was
had
really
no
good.
problem because it was about the same distance to come here as it would
Right.
go out
So
there.
this was an issue that we talked about before, and maybe it should be something that we bring up, during,
Well, any of the other testing vendors,
Yeah.
do they have
well,
facilities out here close?
Stenard just came to me, Stenard. They have, their facility downtown Chicago, and this third one that I just found, public safety recruitment. Their offices are on Manheim Road, but I didn't get a chance to talk to them personally yet. I figured I'd talk to you guys, see if you want packets from them to review before we even get anybody in here to talk about it. 2 years will come fast,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
so we should start talking
Yeah,
about
we
that
need to get
Absolutely.
now so that we're set
we
and,
need to get that
Right.
included, and that way we can get our rules and rights
right.
ratified and posted. Okay. If you want to approach Stenard, I don't know if you have anything from Stenard?
I ordered packets from Stenard, but I didn't wanna confuse, put that in the mix while we were hiring now. So we'll
Yeah.
get this out of the way, we'll get Stenard, cops, and perhaps this recruitment company in here and give us presentations, but I do have, now I have packets from Stenard.
Okay.
You know what cops does, but we can also ask for updated packets from
Yeah, I
cops.
think we need to just send them an email and have them send us their latest packet.
Right,
then
and I'll do the same for the
see if there's
recruitment.
one. That way we can review it
And
next
we'll have them
month.
all, yeah. Alright, I'll do that.
Okay, then we can take a look at them, and our rules and regulations won't stick with a vendor
No,
per se, but it will basically direct us on the rules for charging and so on.
right, well, it will change the way I'll call them the kids, the applicants, have to go forward,
Yeah,
and,
yeah, cause we will have to we'll have to put in the rules and regs that we would no longer do the power test ourselves.
Right.
That would come from the
right, there are, those requirements are already on the Blue Line ads. you already have to have a valid dipstick card. So that would take us out of the physical aptitude
Yeah, but it
test.
still should remain in our rules and regulations.
No, it has, that they have to.
Because they have
pass
to do it, but
they would
we
have
don't.
to be qualified already before they turn in the application.
Oh, change the
Right.
wording?
Yeah,
Right, we won't have to do the,
yeah, we won't actually
have to go.
stand,
to the
stand out there
general-
when it's torrential rains and
Right,
40-mile-an-hour winds when they're running around the track.
so it'll take us out, it'll make someone else liable
Mm-hmm.
for, you know, anything that any applicant may question. It takes us out of the business. And that's, like, as I said, I believe it was South Holland, Richmond Park, are already requiring NIPSTA cards.
Well, you know, looking at the group that we had last time, there were not very many that weren't physically fit, I think. I
Yeah,
think
they
there
were, they were physically fit, and how many of them already had their card?
Already had the card. 7 out of the top 10 had it.
And I'm
So-
sure that the other ones, had they known that we accepted that, they would have gone and done that
Yeah.
ahead of time.
So it's something they do already because they go to so many different municipalities. It makes sense to them to go ahead and get the NIPSTA card ahead of time. So if they're doing it already, we might as well incorporate it. So we can talk about that when we change the rules.
Yeah. All right, yeah, if you can talk to the association, we can, go through,
And so Bill, you're gonna talk to the association
Yeah,
in just in
I'll fill you guys in
particular,
on
which regard?
I mean,
In particular, what you're gonna ask them?
I'm gonna,
I mean, not in particular, but
if
we
they have
got the
any-
lateral entry issue.
lateral entry rules and regulations concerning lateral entry.
Okay. And then, but we're also gonna ask Stevenson?
yeah, we can have, Jim Stevenson look into it, if there's anything in the state rules and regs that we are aware of. He and I had discussed it a couple months ago, but we were in the process of finalizing or getting this list for entry level going and just finishing up our last lateral.
But we-
And we wanted to wait until we got all that situated before we started on the next process, so now is the time.
So if we find that we can make the appropriate adjustments to the lateral entry rules, then we're not talking about getting rid of it? Or
Yeah,
are we
if it's,
still?
well,
Because of the need of the,
if-
sometimes
if it
we had
is,
several people
if-
leave us.
yeah, if the association doesn't have anything for us and Jim Stevenson can't find anything in the state rules and regs that really makes sense, then we need to decide if we're just gonna eliminate it from our hiring from our rules and regs. Because that, you know, if there's no good way to have good candidates on it, there's no use us keeping them.
I think once we find out what's available.
Yeah, if, we
Yeah,
we
we
need to
can
see,
make
we
that
need to
decision.
see, you know.
Let me ask you this, being the novice here, we're supposed to be independent,
Mm-hmm.
right? But does the village have any say? Like, look guys, you know, we just had, let's just have this last incident. We got, how many guys left? 2 or 3?
Mm-hmm.
And we had a guy injured or what, but we had 2 or 3 guys gone, right?
Yeah.
So they said, look, we need to have something. So how long is this taking now for a guy that's on the list to go in? I mean, I don't know, you guys know.
Well,
Well, you know what, I also mentioned to the board then, or if the board approaches us, well, look, then let us do our job and have that list ready when this one expires.
yeah.
What we did, we have, you know, slowed down some, only because we never had enough opening.
Yeah, we didn't have.
And so we
All right, okay, I'm still.
delayed the hiring process, and then all of a sudden we got in this situation where we really had to scramble. when you have a guy who's,
So what you're
you know,
saying is
leaves.
let us do,
Yeah,
let us
it's-
do our job, which is every 2 years, keep a stated list, and when you want one, we just go through background check, boom, 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 and it's in the process. Versus a lateral list, which may not be the greatest.
Yeah, see, that's where we have to kind of weigh it out, because if we're gonna have a lateral list of not so good candidates, and we have an actual entry level list of
Excellent.
excellent candidates,
Right.
which we have now,
Yes.
we'd be better off sticking with the entry level list and having the village wait a little bit longer to get a guy out on the street and have a better person than getting somebody else from another,
Gotcha, alright,
municipality.
alright, I got it. As long as
But-
we can
but
we have a current
Yeah, we
active
need to do our
2-year
due
list.
diligence on the, on the rules and regs to make sure that, we've looked at all of the lateral entry possibilities for the state. Because if it's not,
I don't see it in the statute, but,
yeah,
yeah, it's what best practices is what we want.
exactly.
Right.
It's a convenience for us to have it for the village,
Right.
because it makes the, speeds up the process exponentially, but if it's not a,
But at the same time, if they wanna spend the money on a background check in the beginning, when we put a lateral list up, then we could have best candidates on 2 lists.
Mhm.
So, but they wanna have to be able to spend the money. Right.
We gotta have somebody devote a lot of time to doing that background check.
Which is a detective.
Mhm.
Alright.
So,
Well, we have a lot
let's-
to talk about.
Yeah, so let's keep it on the agenda for next month, we'll review it again. Possibly by that time we'll have packets, we can
Yeah.
kind of look at that.
Alright.
Then we need to just kind of highlight our rules and regs, what we need to change,
I have been doing that.
okay?
Yeah, I've got it on a computer. I'll probably send you copies of it, so it's already highlighted.
Okay,
Alright, so,
Oh, good.
and then you guys see extra stuff, you just put it on there, but I've got, first several pages of the rules highlighted, where I think maybe we could just look at it, maybe some changes
yeah,
here.
once we have suggestions, then
From
we'll
the
give it to
vendors.
Stevenson,
Yeah,
and then he can put it into legal format,
okay,
because then it has to be posted
right,
in the paper,
right,
okay? And then
okay,
ratify.
alright.
Okay. So, all right, yeah, if you can leave that on the agenda for next month, we'll still review,
Alright,
okay?
and that's next month it'll be old business.
Yep, and the old business at that time. Okay. Takes care of any new business. No one has anything else?
Nothing?
Oh, can I ask a question? When you refer to the attorney,
Mm-hmm.
that's Jim Stevenson?
Jim Stevenson.
When he does work for the commission, the Police and Fire Commission, does he bill that separately on an itemized for you guys to review, or is that part of the
Part of the village.
village?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's why we utilize his services, because it's part of his
retainer and,
retainer that, and just, that way we aren't going outside to another service. We'll ask our association for, recommendations, and then they have an attorney that we could utilize, but, we just don't wanna get charged for it, so we utilize, Mr. Stevenson, so.
Pushes the button.
Yeah.
Pushes the button.
Yeah, so we try to
Hard to-
minimize any outside
Yeah, we-
I don't know.
or the association
Yeah,
lawyers.
Bill, how
using-
are you?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, how's the kids, he wants to talk for a while.
with regard to the statute that you were reading, can you give me the number on that statute?
In regards to, I was just
Yeah, the compiled statutes for the police and fire?
5, hold on.
That one.
You got it.
Let's see, that is
Actually, I have one.
65 ILCS 5/10-2 1 through 6.
Yeah, thanks.
He actually read section
There's
C.
an updated one with all the lines out for the fire department section.
Okay.
So you see one without lines through it, it's old,
Gotcha.
alright? But it's got all the fire department, basically it was, median testing, and you'll see, if you see the statute with all the deletions, and it's in the area of firefighter testing, that's the new one,
Mhm.
the updated one.
Okay.
Okay, unless anybody has anything else, I move that we adjourn. You move, okay, I second it. 7:41.
You gonna be the new waiter, Mark Waiter?
Hmm.
He doesn't waste a second in adjourning,
Doesn't he? He doesn't?
it's kind of humorous.
Okay. Well, I wonder who that was in the accident.